Here's the new patient navigator inside of Archform. So the first thing is that we have a list of patients and we can click on them. And as we click on them, a check mark appears here. It is highlighted in gray. And now we can press the open button. This is the primary way that you will use this tool, but it has other features as well. So I'm going to get into them. So the first thing is that you can see that we have a gray highlighted bar here, and then this one is blue. So it's not always the top one that's blue. The blue one is the last patient that we have opened and the patient that will appear if we press this close button. So you can see that we have first name and last name, and then we have this other column here that says local version. So this is basically recording if you have uploaded this patient to the cloud. So you can see this patient has a V1, that means it's uploaded to the cloud. If it says unversioned, then this patient has not been uploaded to the cloud. There are also multiple ways that you can search for these patients or organize them. So you can sort them by modified date descending, which is the most recently modified patients up here at the top. You can modify it by ascending, which means that you can look at the oldest patients first, and then you can also search alphabetically. For example, if you know a patient's name but don't know exactly how to spell it, you can search for it here by scrolling to where that patient's name is in the alphabet. The other thing that you can do is search for a patient. So this is one of our most requested features. Here I'm searching for myself, and you can see here are all the scans that I have. This brings me on to another feature here that we have, which is cloud status. So basically this little circle turns green if we have the most recent version uploaded to the cloud, and that is the version that we have downloaded locally as well. So that basically means your local version and the latest cloud version are completely in sync, then it turns green. If we want to go back to the list of all patients, I just remove the text that I have here, and now I'm back to all patients. So now I want to talk about our action buttons over here on the left. Basically, these are all grayed out right now with the exception of the import button, which means that we can import a .archform file from our file system. So if I click this, I can come here and import a .archform file. But as I click on a file, like on this file, for example, you can see I have a number of options. One is open. That one's quite obvious what it does. It opens up patient. This one, save patient, saves what is called a .archform file. A .archform file is a file that it contains all of the setup information for your patient, and you can move that file around. So for example, if you have a second account or you want to get another doctor's opinion on it, or sometimes we use this file for debugging as well. So sometimes in a support email, we might say, hey, can you send me a .archform file? This is how you would save that .archform file. The import button is to import a .archform file, but it's not specifically into this patient. It's just generally into Archform. And then we also have these upload and download buttons. These are grayed out most of the time, but if you're on a patient, you can upload this latest version to the cloud. Or if you have a setup that's already on the cloud, you can press download and pull down the latest version from the cloud as well. But I suspect most people won't be using these buttons that often, but it's useful that they're there. Next, we have the edit button. So when we click edit, you can see that we can change the name of the patient. So I'm going to change this. And now that I have it changed, I can press the check mark, and this patient has now been edited. Finally, we have the delete button, and that just deletes the patient locally. It does not delete it from the cloud. So if you delete it locally and then you click the remote patient button, which will download the patients from the cloud that you do not have locally, it will re-download that version. So this button is just local delete, and you would have to go and delete that file from the cloud on the dashboard as well for it to be permanently deleted. So that is all the buttons in the Archform Patient Navigator.